Right then, with new owners seemingly coming to Manchester United in the very short term, with bids expected to be placed in by Friday, with the deadline set by the Glazer family, we need to take a look at what we want from new owners, because we don't want just the same as the Glazers, even worse, because that can happen. We need owners with ambition. We need owners that have to have a good effect on the club. And the first thing I'm thinking about is redeveloping Old Trafford. The last time Old Trafford had anything substantial happen to it was in 2005. And yes, that was under the Glazer ownership, but the plans were already in place by Martin Edwards beforehand. So under the Glazer ownership, no major reconstruction had ever happened to Old Trafford. There's been changes to executive box. There's been changes, recently with safe standing, but they've done nothing to make it modern. There's no, Wi-Fi in there. There's no phone signal. It's fallen behind. The catering is not very good. It needs improving. You look at other stadiums around the world, even the old stadiums that have been redeveloped, like the Bernabeu. We can do that. It'll be a big job. Obviously, that's a huge commitment by the owners, but it's very much needed. Old Trafford used to be the best stadium in the world. It's fallen on hard times. We've seen recently roof leaks. It's not. It's looking a bit old. It needs a bit of a redevelopment, and I don't want it to be knocked down. I don't want that, but it needs to be redeveloped. It needs to, add more. Firstly, add more seats to it because 73,000, 74,000 is not enough. It's not enough. But we can easily fit 90,000 people, 100,000 people inside that stadium every game, but we can't. So just adding seats, making the surrounding a bit better. I think that's what's needed. And then another redevelopment point is the training ground. It's like Old Trafford. It's so far behind the best training grounds in the world. There's so many Premier League teams that have so much better training ground than ours that you never hear about work that's being done inside Carrington. Yes, managers have the things that they do to it. They suggest to add, but there's been massive redevelopment of it, and that was built in 2001, 2000. It's been a long time since that's been completely redeveloped and revamped, and that's again needed. We need to get the best out of these players, and for so long we're not getting the best out of the players because the training ground's not good. I know what Jesse Lingard said about the training ground. We'll kind of take out of context saying there's no games room and stuff like that, but these things help. They do help. Just having a little room for the players to enjoy after training or something like that, they help. And it's just that is state of the art facilities is what needed to be the best for all teams in the world. It's these marginal gains, these little marginal gains of not even 1%. That's the gains of football. Not even that little 1%. The top between the top and bottom teams probably there's not that much difference. There isn't that much difference. It's football is such a low scoring sport that little details matter so much. These little details matter so much can get you a goal to win you a title. And these things in Carrington, they need that happening to them. And that's not just for the men's team, that's for the women's team, that's for the academy, that's for all the ages down there as well. The best facilities, you get the best out of the players. Better on your investment. Think about business. You buy the players, or you buy your business. You're not just gonna let it sit there. You're going to invest in ways to improve it, and the training ground is the ways to improve it. You're making £90 million investment in Anthony. Spend £5-10 million. You spend £5-10 million extra to improve him, but that's £5-10 million to improve everybody. It's simple business. The Glazers haven't looked at it like that way. They just see it as a cost that they don't want to do. But they haven't looked to the future, and hopefully new owners look to the future and realise the training ground needs doing up. Next point, Women's and Academy Stadium. The Women's and Academy play at Lee Sports Village, which is a trek to get to. Like, no one wants to go to it. The players don't want to go to it. The fans don't want to go to it. It's 40 minutes hour drive out of Manchester. No, it's hard to get to. There's no good transport links either. It's not good. You need these stadiums to be in the heart of the city, and this is what Man City have done very well. They have the Etihad Stadium, but they also have all the women's and academy stadiums right next to it. It's within 100 meters, 200 meters of each other. Old Trafford, they have space to do that. They do have space to do that, but it's probably a bit difficult. But they can find other spaces, and they need their own space. Playing at least it's a bit demeaning to them, saying you just play that little stadium over there. Build a village, build up the women's team. The investment in the women's team has to be quite poor. But showing this sign of we are going to compete for the best is by building them a stadium. A state-of-the-art stadium. It doesn't have to be the biggest stadium in the world, but building them a stadium. And you will see a load of people go to it. But it's just the fact that it's so far away and so inconvenient to get to is why people don't really go to the games. Same with the academy. It's just so far away. If you build a stadium for it will change everything. It will change everything. It will also attract the better players as well. They will see that, oh, you're committed to the women's team. You've built a stadium for us. That's what they want. If they see, oh, where'd you play? What, that just random, little stadium over there? Why? But building a women's stadium it'll be a really good look for the club, and it'll be really beneficial to the women's and academies teams. Next one, fan connection. The Glazers did not connect with the fans in any way. Not. I don't think they didn't try, and they didn't care. The only time they spoke to the fans since they bought the club was in 2021 when fans stopped the Liverpool game, and then they came out. Joel Glazer came out with a letter, and I can't remember what he said, but that's the first time they spoke to us in 17 years. 17 years it took them to speak, and they promised all these fan advisories and the fans on the board. It never happened. What we need, it's been better under Richard Arnold, I say, but the owners dictate what happens in that. Get fans on the board, get fan groups involved, get fans deciding on what the future of the club looks like, get fans helping with what they want from the club. The Glazers never wanted that because they never cared what the fans wanted. It was just about them. If the new owners get fans with the club, get fans on side, I think it will help. It will say, this is what we want of the club. What can you provide us? And I think that'll be really beneficial. Really, really beneficial. And not just for us, for the owners as well, because they would know what to do with the club as well. If they don't know what to do with the club, they could just do something completely wrong and completely against what we want, like the Super League. The Glazers, they did the Super League because they just saw it as a financial gain for them, not knowing the fans didn't want it. If they advised with the fans on it, they would realise before they entered it, and the whole thing would have looked, oh, Man United are the only club that didn't join the Super League. How good on them? They didn't see it that way. They really didn't see it that way. And the final thing is clear the debt. United do it in £600 million worth of debt, the exact same debt that they bought the club on, the Glazers. So they bought the club with £600 million in debt, paid about over £1 billion in debt refinancing and debt repayments, and we're in £600 million of debt. Explain that. That's the position we're in. So I don't expect, unless it's a wealthy owner, I don't expect them to clear the debt all in one. Say, here's a little present, here's £600 million just to clear the debt of the club. I don't suspect that's going to happen, but clear a little bit of it away, have a good, saying this is what we're going to do to clear the debt, because the Glazers never wanted to clear the debt. That's the problem with the Glazers. They never wanted to get rid of the debt. They just refinancing, and getting it off the club as well. If the owners say, we'll halve it, I'll clear some of the debt, the club will clear some of the debt, and we'll figure out a way in 10 years, in 5 years, we won't have any debt. I think that's fine, because the Glazers, they were never going to clear the debt. The club could never afford to do that, the way it was running. Soon enough, if the Glazers kept in charge and kept the financing the same it was, the club would have no money left, because it would all just be debt. We weren't making profits, and suddenly it will be a very, very bad situation. This is why they're getting off it now, because they realise this can't carry on. They've managed it in such a bad situation that they can't pay off the debts from the club's money, because the club wasn't making money. They just couldn't do that. And yeah, that's all the things we need from the new owners. It's going to take a lot. They're not easy things to do. Redeveloping Old Trafford, building new stadiums, clearing debt. But that's what needed. This is what the Glazers have ignored for the nearly 18 years they've been in charge now. And whether the new owners are Sir Jim Ratcliffe or the Qatari owners, Qatar State, I don't really want that. Obviously, I don't want to be state owned. But if it's just a normal person from Qatar or Saudi Arabia, I don't mind that. But I just don't want to be state owned by any country. It's just weird to be state owned by any country. Imagine if England owned Man United, that would the King Charles owned Man United. That would just be weird, wouldn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe. In the comments, tell me your thoughts of what else that you'd want from the new owners. And I didn't want to do anything like, invest in players, but because that's just obvious, and that's going to happen anyway. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.